What's happening, guys? This is Mike's Total Dragon Channel. Yesterday, my local comic book shop had a whole bunch of new back issues in, a lot of stuff they had picked up, and because they had so much stuff, the guy told me, he said, look, I'll do everything out of these boxes for $1 each, because you're such a good customer, you're a regular or whatever. They always really hook me up like that. So I went through and got a couple of really cool things that I like. So I got really lucky in everything that I found. Probably the best thing I found, well, maybe not the best, but one of my personal favorites that I found is this Scalp #1 by Jason Aaron. This is the book that put Jason Aaron on my radar. The quick pitch for it is, imagine Donnie Brasco on an Indian reservation. So that's basically what the gist of it is. It's an incredible crime book. I highly recommend it. It's collected in a series of hardcovers, collected in a series of regular trade paperbacks, so it's a wide variety of ways that you can read this book. I really enjoyed it. It was the book that turned me on to Jason Aaron's work, and to pick this issue up right here for $1, which I'm gonna set this one off to the side, and when he comes around to Heroes Con, if next time he comes, I'm definitely gonna take it to get him to sign it, because it's one of my favorite works of his. Then I got a copy of Birds of Prey, New 52, #1. I just picked this up in case I decide to do a run of it. Then I found this cool back issue of Amazing Heroes. Amazing Heroes was kind of like a early comic book magazine. They had interviews with, get out of here, cat. Had interviews with authors, pencilers, everybody in the comic book business. They did retrospectives on characters, companies, and everything. So it was very much not as much as a youth-oriented book as Wizard was, but it was along the same lines of that, kind of a more mature version of it. And I really like this cover right here. In the inside, it says a biography of Batman, and you have all these different faces of Batman right here. So to get this for $1, super cool. Got a Neal Adams DC book right here. This was probably the coolest thing that I got to pick up for $1. T2, the official Terminator 2 Judgment Day movie magazine. I went and saw this movie in the theater when it came out. Me, my friend Eric Watson, his dad took us to see this movie, and it was so fucking cool. I remember that when it ended, me, him, and his dad, we sat outside in the parking lot and talked about how cool it was. We just sat there in the parking lot for 30 minutes after the movie was over, just talking about everything that was so cool and the scenes that were so cool. So to find this magazine there, and only for $1 or whatever, I definitely had. I liked this movie so much. At one point, I had a Terminator 2 poster in my room as a kid. So this is definitely a cool acquisition to pick up. Then Transformers Ghostbusters crossover. They only had the first issue, but it looks super crazy. I love Transformers and I love Ghostbusters, so I'm anxious to see what this is all about. Amazing Spider-Man Annual, first appearance of Speedball. He is one of my favorite characters from this time period. So I managed to pick this up for $1, and this is also part of the Evolutionary War. I always recommend picking up annuals from this time period because you have so much material in there. 64 pages. You would have the main story. Like, we'll open it up and see what it has in here. So you would have the main story in here that deals with like the Evolutionary War, and then you would have various amounts of backups. You would have so you have the Evolutionary War, Then you would have like cool pinups here. You have a Speedball story. So you got the story, pinup, a backup story featuring another character. Then if you ever wanted to know what Peter and Mary Jane's apartment looked like, they have this cross section right here of it. You know, just a lot of really cool, fun stuff. Here's a pinup of the bathroom and the living room. You know, just really weird, over-the-top stuff. You got some back history of the High Evolutionary right here. So a lot of value right here. This is a classic comic book ad right here. This Metal Gear, almost said Metal Gear Solid. This Metal Gear advertisement for Nintendo. Oh man, this was on the back of a million comics. And then I got parts 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the New History of the DC Universe. I didn't get a chance to finish reading these. Something happened and I only got to like the first 2 or something. So now I'm going to finish those off. Copy of Street Sharks for $1. Sure, why not? Last Starship. I do like Star Trek. This is $1. I think I already read this. Not sure. The cover does look familiar. Maybe I've read it. I can't remember. But for $1, whatever. This is the Robert Kirkman, David Finch Skinbreaker book. Again, and I have read this. Again, it's only $1, so whatever. Then you had a humor funny book or whatever. World's Funnest by Evan Dorkin. Evan Dorkin, the creator of Milk and Cheese. He's very much a humor style writer. And this right here is basically lampooning the big events, the death of Batman, the death of Superman. Very tongue-in-cheek. You have Mr. Mxyzptlk and Bat-Mite, who are essentially the same character, but very much a tongue-in-cheek look at these two characters, their history, and the comic book industry in general. J. Scott Campbell, X-Men cover right here. And then the last book I got is Amazing Spider-Man 350, Spider-Man versus Doctor Doom. And you also have, like I said, this is a double-sized book. Gallery of All-Star Pinups. This is the one that has the split cover. One half is the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man, and the other half is the Eric Larson Spider-Man. So it's a really cool pinups in here. But all in all these books for $1 each. Nothing really outrageous or spectacular, but just really cool stuff. Like I said, he didn't want to go through all the trouble of pricing all this stuff. So that's one of the joys of your shop. If they're really cool, they'll always look out for you, do you solid favors. And then you can get deals like this, $1 each. Oh, I can't wait to go through this. I might try and watch this today. I hadn't seen this in forever. So that is all my acquisitions from the little $1 sale yesterday. Some cool stuff. I still have to do a video for the books I picked up from the past 2 weeks. We had a tremendous amount of snow here last week, so that set back me getting to the shop. So yesterday I went and picked up my stuff, 2 weeks worth of stuff, a huge stack. So a lot of comic book content coming over the next 2 or 3 days. So I got to get started on it. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.